Hi guys, I want to fill you in on everything that's been happening. So much has been going on. I put notes in my phone so I kind of don't lose track of what I'm saying, and I'm going to try to go over everything. So where we last left off, I had the saline sonogram and it did not go well. I had a growth on my uterus on the inside, and my doctor called me a day or two later and explained that it is not a fibroid, it's a polyp, and it's a small polyp, and in order to be in the egg donor recipient program, you cannot have any fibroids or polyps. So I have to have surgery to have it removed. I was a little taken back because, after going through the myomectomy, and I've had saline sonograms before, I really did not expect it. I expected to just breeze right through that part. So now this is a huge bump in the road. I have to have surgery to remove the polyp, and the egg donor situation has to be put on hold for a little bit. So she told me that the surgery is an outpatient surgery. You don't have to stay there overnight. You go in, you do go under anesthesia, and they go in and they laser off the growth, and you go home after that. She said I could go back to work the next day. My surgery is on a Thursday, and that Monday I have to go back. So what they're going to do is they're going to put a stent in my uterus, and when I go back on Monday, they're going to take the stent out. And she said recovery after that surgery is 4 to 6 weeks. So that was another blow, because I'm like, the donor egg, so now I have to wait all this time. And this was in June. This was right after my menstrual in June. So the surgery has to be scheduled after my July menstrual. So she told me, call on day 1 of your menstrual. And so I did. This was 3 weeks ago now. So I did. And the 3rd day of my menstrual, I had to go in for morning monitoring. That afternoon, they called me and they started me on birth control. The birth control that I am on is, you're on it, norethindrone, I don't know how you say it, but this is the birth control that they have me on, and you take 1 tablet 3 times a day. Other than the fact that you have to take it 3 times a day, which is sometimes a nuisance, it doesn't make me nauseous or anything. Everything makes me bloated and fat, but it doesn't make me nauseous. So my surgery is on Thursday. So I've been taking the birth control. So I think the reason why is so I don't bleed. So my surgery is on Thursday with that. And so after being told that, the whole egg donor situation was going to have to be put on hold because now I have to deal with this polyp, I said to myself, okay, there's nothing I can do. Why don't I take this opportunity to look at other donor egg programs and other facilities, because they have, every facility is a little bit different. I mean, it's basically the same, but every facility is different. And what I didn't realize before was that every facility uses their own, and I can't say every because I haven't called every single one, but The ones that I have called, they all use their own egg bank. So it's not like if you find a donor you like at one egg bank, you can have your clinic call that egg bank and get those eggs. Your clinic uses their own specific egg bank, and there's no crossing. So if you go to a different facility, you might find better egg donors that you like. And just to look at the different programs that are out there, since you know, I do have to take this little break, you know, I might as well use the time to do some more research. And so that's what I did. Okay, so the donors. Now, when I think about it and I'm like, okay, who would I want to be a donor? I'd want somebody who's everything that I'm not, just everything. Gorgeous, smart, successful, you know, like Miss America in medical school, you know, donating her eggs. Those are the eggs that I want. But unfortunately, that's not who's donating their eggs. Or maybe they are, but those are the ones that are reserved for celebrities. When you go on the donor website, they're just regular girls, and they're in their early 20s, and they're still trying to find themselves, especially trying to find African American donors. There's not that many as it is in each egg bank, just donors in general. And then when you look at the African American ones, there's maybe 5%. It's very little, and I found it to be more of not as much as someone jumping out at me, but more of a process of elimination. So I'm going through them like, no, 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 hell no, 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 she's okay, you know, like that type of situation. So, you know, I kind of just picked the best one out of the bunch. So I was a little disappointed at that, but I could understand why that is. Also, so as I am doing this research and I'm looking at other clinics, you guys know that I did go and do one cycle at this clinic in upstate New York, in Albany, New York. And so I do know one or two people that have done the donor program, and a couple of people have recommended it to me. So I said, you know what, let me check it out. And they actually have a really good program. So I'm switching to the clinic, the fertility clinic in Albany, New York, and I will tell you why. So the program at my clinic, alright. So I'm going to try to explain this to you because this is all new to me. So a batch of eggs is 6 to 8 eggs. But for this example, let's just say 6 eggs. Okay. And I'm going to explain to you what a cycle is. A cycle is where you get a batch of eggs from one donor, and so you get the 6 eggs, and you have the sperm from your husband or your boyfriend, and you try to fertilize all 6 eggs. So maybe, let's say 4 to 5 eggs fertilized. So let's say 4, keep it simple. So 4 out of the 6 eggs that you received in that batch fertilized. So now what a cycle is, so you take the first embryo. So now you have 4 embryos. You take the first embryo and you transfer that embryo. And that embryo, it doesn't work. You're not pregnant. So now transfer number 2. You take the second embryo and you do a transfer. And then that transfer doesn't work. and so on with the third and the fourth. So you do all 4 transfers with all 4 embryos that you got from that one batch, and you're still not pregnant. That's a cycle right there. That's one cycle. And by the way, they say if you do one whole cycle and the cycle doesn't work, they say you should choose a different donor, because maybe that one donor, it just didn't work for you. So with that being said, so the plan, that the assured refund plan where you get the guarantee of a live birth, that plan covered 6 cycles. So based on our example, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. That's like 24 transfers right there that covered. And if you don't get pregnant in those 24 transfers, you get your money back. That plan is 37 grand. The clinic in Albany, New York, you can buy a cycle for $9,000, and it covers 1 transfer, and a batch of eggs. So based on our example, you get your batch, you get 4 embryos, and it out of that batch, so you get 4 embryos out of that batch, and it covers the 1 transfer. If you need an additional transfer, say the first one doesn't work, each additional one is $450. Now, my other clinic did have a program that was similar to that, but their program was 17 grand and $5,000 for each additional transfer. So you see the difference. So the one in Albany, New York, for 9 grand. Now, they also told me this. They said, we're going to tell you the quality of your embryos, and if it's not a great quality embryo and your transfers don't work, they'll give you another batch for free. Or if they are great embryos and you go through that whole cycle and it doesn't work, they'll give you a discount on your next cycle. So they really do work with you. And even me thinking about it, if I go through 1 cycle, based on our example, that's 4 transfers, and say, okay, I want to try it again, so then I do another 4, I might be done after that. Like, you know, who wants to do 24 transfers? So I think I'm gonna go with the one in Albany, New York. Now that clinic, that fertility clinic, so far their donor program has been great. The women that work there are great. You just can't call them directly. You can send them a message and leave them a voicemail, and they do call you right back. You can email them, they email you right back. They are on point, and the facility is beautiful. So I called them, and you know, I had all these questions for them. I looked through the donors that they have on their website, and like I said, through process of elimination, I found one that suits me, and I actually like her better than the 2 donors I was considering from the clinic in New Jersey. So I like the one donor that they had at the facility in Albany, New York better. But it's only 1 donor, and when you go on the website, it's weird because they don't have that many, and they're taken. Like if they're currently doing a cycle for somebody, it shows you that. So when I called and I asked them about the 1 donor, they're like, yeah, well, she's at the end of her cycle that she's doing for someone else. We can call her and ask her if she'll do a cycle for you. But she said she does have, I guess the cycle that she did for the other person, perhaps she got like 12 eggs, and she gave 6 to the other person, and they froze 6. So the lady from the clinic told me, she said, look, we do have 6 eggs banked from that donor that you can have, but she said, if we give you that batch of eggs, and you know, they defrost them and they mix them with the sperm. She said your outcome might be 2 or 3 embryos. If the girl agrees to do a cycle for me and they get the fresh embryos, she said you can have 4 or 5. If the girl agrees to do a fresh cycle for me and she gives me the 6 fresh eggs, she said your outcome of getting embryos are better. You can probably get 4 or 5. So, and it's the same price. So she said they're gonna reach out to the girl to see if she'll do a cycle for me so that I can get the fresh eggs instead of using the banked eggs. I'm sorry, this is a lot of information that I got. So I said, okay. A week later, not even a week, she calls me and she tells me she reached out to the girl and the girl decided, yes, she will do another cycle for me. So happy about that. Her cycle should be starting maybe Monday. I have to reach out to her and find out. So also she said that they need the sperm right away. I can't, and they need it fresh. So I can't have him give sperm in the New Jersey clinic and then ship it out to New York. We had to drive all the way to the clinic in New York. It's about 2.5 hours. So he can take 2 minutes to give his sperm and then drive all the way back. So that's what we did. I have some footage of that. I really want to show you that because the clinic is beautiful. It really is a beautiful place. What else? So that's where we are with that, which is amazing. And also the clinic in Albany, you know, I told them about my surgery, and you know, I told them, I said, you know, I know the doctor told me it was a 4 to 6 week healing period. And she said, what we do, we don't do any healing period. She said, right after that surgery, you can start prepping for your transfer. So I think it was just meant to be.
Mommy.
Yes, honey?
I'm behind you.
You right behind me?
Yeah.
Okay. So they actually, the place in Albany, which they are so on point, they actually sent me a box of meds already. So I wanted to go over with you what they sent me in my box. And I haven't even really looked. I just looked to check that there wasn't anything perishable in here. They sent me 3 boxes. I don't know if you can see it. Of the endometrium, the vaginal inserts, which I'm not too crazy about those because they get all milky and ugh. But they sent me needles. Needles. They sent me the progesterone and oil, which I love. Okay. What's this? Band-Aids. This little Sharps container. Are you gonna go like a frog?
Yeah.
Pills.
Okay.
Okay, Maureen. Let me finish. Prednisone, estradiol. And what's this one? Tacrolimus. Oh my god, I thought she fell. Tacrolimus. And Morgan, be careful on this, playing on the stool. Alcohol swabs.
Mommy.
And needles, more needles.
Mommy.
Yes, honey. So that's not too much medicine. If you're watching this video, please don't forget to subscribe. And thank you for watching.
You gotta listen up, listen up. There's not a